Okay, if everything has gone according to plan, we should be live on YouTube. Hello everyone and welcome back to our annual big Prime Day deals thingy. What is this day called again? I don't know. Basically Prime, like Amazon Prime department wanted another Prime Day, so they decided to call it the Prime Big Deals Day. And by the way, is it just me or like they did no promotion for it this time around? Like usually you are aware beforehand when a Prime Day or a Big Deals Day or whatever they're gonna call it now is coming up. But like this time it feels like it like no marketing. I didn't even know it's like happening until like today morning. So what happened, Amazon? Did you spend all of your marketing budget on AI projects? Or am I just so numb to all of it I just didn't even notice all the marketing? I honestly don't know. So let me know if you haven't seen any of it either. But anyway, if you are new here, the way it works is we go through Amazon and we go deal hunting and we are looking out for stuff that have this little magical box over here that say that they are on sale. And with those parts, only those parts, we try to build a PC. A complete PC with only those parts within a budget. And we usually set the budget at around, I want to say, between 1,000, usually it's like 1,500. I think one time we did 2,000. Sometimes we're going to try to challenge ourselves. We go with like only $1,000. So as always, I want to hear from you. What should the budget for this actually be? Do let me know. And also let me know if the audio levels are fine. Let me just quickly check something. But I think they should be fine. Okay, so as always, let me know what kind of budget we should be doing for these and we can get started. I'm thinking is let's do 1,300 because we usually do either 1,000, which like it's a very entry level PC nowadays, or we do 1,500, which is usually a bit too easy and we end up with some pretty good parts. So I think 1,300 would be a pretty good compromise between the two. So I think if everyone is happy with that, or anyone has any other ideas for what should the magic price point for this stream be, do let me know. Or if there's like any other challenges we should do, like I don't know, like a white build for example, or like a build for a specific purpose. Justin says 1,200. Sure, let's do 1,200. Let's, as always, start with the CPUs because that kind of dictates. Actually, let's start with the motherboards, and then that kind of dictates what kind of CPUs we go for. So if we just quickly go into our Amazon window over here, let's see what they have on offer. I'm hoping we at least get a couple of decent enough little ones here where... Oh, there we go. Now you can see me again. Boom. Now, okay. We see some good offers on Gigabyte. I like it. I really like Gigabyte motherboards right now, if you couldn't tell from how many videos I do about them. And in fact, I run a Gigabyte... or you know, an Aorus motherboard specifically in my build, the X6, not X6, the B650E, which I don't see here on sale. We also get MSI ones. They're also pretty decent. You pretty much get 5 gig with all of them motherboards generation, which is a pretty nice touch. Not everyone needs 5 gig in networking, but like, it's sure, I'll take it. But even something like this will be more than enough for someone like a. But if that's 190, if we really want to cheap out, we can go for a B650. That's only $160. It's already AM5, so you still get that upgradability later down the line. And honestly, between that and an X870, oh, but you will get like that extra USB Type-C with that. Okay. Is the additional Type-C ports you get with X870 worth the additional, what is it going to be? $60. Not even 60, that's $70. That's kind of a lot you're paying for just that. And to be fair, I can't remember if there's anything else you get that's really, really good. You still get 2.5 with this. 2.5 gig Ethernet, Wi-Fi 6E. Here you get Wi-Fi 7, but like, who cares? You probably won't be using Wi-Fi. We already have ourselves a bit of a dilemma. And then, of course, there's Intel ones. Intel ones are pretty interesting because you get some really good deals. You get a Z980 Max for only $200, but also it is a dead-end socket. And if you haven't heard, Intel are also increasing the pricing for the 13th and 14th gen CPUs, because they're the only ones that are selling. No one's like buying Core Ultra 200, so they're raising the prices for the older SKUs that people are actually interested in. Stuff for this motherboard. And then I think we have the perfect middle ground between those two options from Gigabyte. We have the MSI Mag B850. It's a Max, so it's like slightly upgraded. It has like pretty decent rear I/O from what I remember, I believe. Can I please? There it is. Yeah, you still get the two. They're only 10 gig because it's B850. You don't get the 40 gig Type-C at the back, which is really nice. But again, I understand that a lot of people do not need 40 gigabit per second Type-C, 2 even, at the back of the PC, unless they're like, I don't know, doing big video editing and they need like the high speed Type-C. I don't know. Do you guys care enough? Do you guys care enough about fast Type-C that we go with that? Because you guys are the ones that basically need to give me a thumbs up, thumbs down on all these parts. So if there's anything you don't like, please, please, please do let me know. In the meantime, let me just quickly check while you guys are telling me if this is a good choice or not, like which motherboard we should go for. Because I think we pretty much decided we are going with AMD. Now we just need to decide if we're going B850, if we're going B650, or if we're going X870, which, again, pretty much the only benefit of that will be the much faster Type-C. Are these main benefits we kind of care about at a, you know, without like the additional PCIe lanes, like whatever people won't really need. We're talking from like a very basic perspective here. We're not making a rig that's going to actually utilize all of those additional lanes. Go away, honey. Okay. Honey is nice to have. I also kind of hate those pop-ups everywhere when I try to like just take screen caps from websites. Give me a second. I'm just going to quickly check the audio. Okay, yeah. Audio's cool. Audio is all good. Nice. Okay, so which ones are we going for, guys? 870. What's the budget? The budget is $1,200. So like we can't really waste too much. And again, the biggest expense and the one we're trying to save the most budget for is going to be the graphics card. Alternatively, let's do it differently. Let's work backwards. Let's start off with a graphics card and then see what we can then afford after that. I think that's how most people build nowadays, I'm pretty sure. I think that's how most people actually make a budget for the PC, is they start with a graphics card. At least that's kind of how I see it. So let's do it this way. Let's start with a GPU and then work backwards. So we have a 5070, which is a pretty good start. $565 plus Arc Raiders, whatever that is. I have no idea. Kind of as a missed opportunity. I'm assuming it's a game, but like what? It's a bit of a missed opportunity to have that be a pack-in title for Intel Arc cards rather than Nvidia cards. Wasted opportunity there, guys. You get a 5060 for way less, but I think we have a big enough budget where... Okay, we definitely don't have a budget to get away with a 5070 Ti for $830. But I think our budget is good enough that we can get ourselves that 5070 OC edition. I don't see anything from AMD on sale, which is a shame. We haven't done an AMD system in a while. Oh no, scratch that. There is actually an AMD card here. A Radeon 550 for $45. How about we make that the center of our PC, guys? See, Edgevine says, I started with a GPU first. Thank you. Thank you so much for confirming my suspicion that that's how people build nowadays. Yeah, I'm only doing stuff from Amazon because this is a Amazon Prime Day live stream. Well, again, not Prime Day, Prime Big Deals Day. So, like, as always, as is tradition on this channel, what we do is on Prime Day, and again on this other, not quite Prime Day, but Prime Day kind of thing they have going on in October every year, we just go through and we challenge ourselves to try and build a PC in a budget from parts that only have this little Prime Big Deal label. So again, it doesn't mean it's the best choice. Like, there could be some way better options on Amazon that don't have that label, but it's it's part of the challenge. It's part of the fun that we only challenge ourselves to only using those parts with these dumb little red stickers. Okay, there's also Intel. We can get a B570. That will give us plenty of budget left over for a good motherboard, but I don't think we'll be going for that. I think we can go for something a bit nicer. Even if it's still a decent enough card, and yeah, this 5080 is more than our entire budget, so I think unless anyone says otherwise, unless anyone like says that I'm dumb, I think we're gonna be going with that 5070. Unless anyone sees anything else here that they think is, wow, it's such a good deal, and please don't just say a GT 730. Getting even weirder on the second page. GT210. This thing that doesn't even have a name. It's just a VGA adapter. GT1030 and some weird like blue blower shroud, which I've never seen before. Okay, yeah. By the time you get to the second page, this is like when you enter AliExpress land. Like this is all nice and safe and familiar. The second you click on the second page, it's the wild, wild west. It's the stuff no one wants. Okay, so, Justin says 9017 on XT. I don't think I was on sale though, unless I missed it. I didn't. The only thing from AMD I saw is this Power Color 550. So yeah, I think we're gonna go with the 5070. Again, at any point, you're free to just interrupt me and say, hey, that's no good. Change your part selection, my guy. And you'll probably be right. So, then we go over, because I see we have plenty of new people, so if you're new to this format, we go over to this beautiful little spreadsheet over here. And if I could just see from under the camera, where's the GPU page? There it is. We add that, we add the price, which is 565, and I forgot to do the commands. Oops, give me a second. Currency, except for we're not doing pounds, we're not doing bitcoins, we're doing US dollars. And then here we're just doing this. Boom. Okay. So we're starting off with a nice, almost half of our budget gone already for the graphics card, but that's just how we roll in 2025. So let's go back to our selection on Amazon here, and now we can go back and get everything else. So now we can return to the CPU. And for this, well, motherboard and CPU. But first, I wanna see what kind of motherboard, what kind of CPUs we have on the. Oh, this is one a lot of people are going to be going for. The 7800X3D is on sale, guys. $338. I know people go absolutely bananas for the X3D chips this generation. Like they just flying off shelves and seeing them on sale. Yeah, these are gonna sell. I don't know how to feel about it myself. I feel like a lot of people. My big dream is that we finally kind of move past 1080p, and X3D chips are mostly good at 1080p because after that, your GPU becomes the bottleneck. So I don't know how to feel about the success of the X3D chips. I think they're awesome as a piece of tech, but again, my I just want us to finally go above 1080p, and I think a lot of people are also falling into a trap of seeing everyone just loving these CPUs, talking about how amazing, how fast they are, and then they buy them, and like, you know, they see that the performance that it isn't the main bottleneck in like the 1440p monitor, for example. So like I have mixed feelings about X3D CPUs. I know I love you guys love them, so cool. Buying my AMD today, ditching Intel. Nice. A lot of people are doing the same. If you look at the Steam hardware survey, whoo, you are in a very, very big majority right now, sir. Edgeline says, wait, you have to make sure if you get the GPU first, what your matching CPU will be. Well, that's what we're doing right now. I mean, with a 5070 that we're getting, we have a bit of flexibility about what kind of CPUs we can get. And again, we're not getting a monitor with this. This is just a PC. But we can just imagine what kind of resolution we want to target with this. With a 5070, you can target 1440p. 4K, yeah, 4K will be fine, but like 1440p I think would be a main target over 5070. And so that gives us a bit of more flexibility to, I wouldn't say cheap out, but again, it's not as important. We don't have to like target a 7800X3D, for example, because again, the GPU is all that matters after that. Again, to some extent, I would impair like a like an entry-level FX chip with like a 5080 for 4K gaming, right? I'm only saying that because for a while, nowadays that would be a huge discrepancy between a CPU and GPU. But for a while, I actually ran an FX 8350 with a GTX 1080 Ti, and again, it did not matter because I was running at 4K. And then when I upgraded from a FX 8350 to a Ryzen 3700X, the performance in games was nothing, because again, at 4K, does not matter. Again, to the lesser extent in 1440p. I'm after making a beast of an i7, like the most high-end Asus ROG parts. Ooh. If you want like the best ROG parts, they make some really good high-end motherboards. So like just the best of the best. However, if you know, if you have like an i7 2600K, then I think you're better off. Wait a second, 2600K. Oh, okay. This is your current rig. Okay, so yeah, if you want, if we're like talking almost no budget limits, then they have a really good high-end motherboards. And also, hey, they also have the like gold-plated ROG graphics card with actual real gold that they like specifically made for like Gulf State oil barons. So go for that. Go crazy. Okay, so we're getting way off topic here. What CPU should we go for here? We have a couple of choices. We do have a couple of sales going on for the current gen Intel CPUs. However, I don't think we've seen any motherboards for those. And also, again, when it comes to upgradability, you get nothing. You get a brand new generation coming up now, our like refresh, which only gets boost clock increases. They were saying that, oh, maybe increased core counts, but no, that's not a thing. They were saying maybe like better 8 NPUs, if anyone cares about that, but no, that's not happening either. So all you're getting is just clock speeds. So that is why, and again, because we didn't see any motherboards from them, we can go for something a bit old, like a 2900K, but given the budget we have to work with, I think we can get ourselves a nice 7900X, I think, is the best option here. It's cheaper than the 7800X 3D. You get the extra cores. It's super fast. And then, like, I think that's what I go for. Because I'm not seeing any other like insane options here. There's a 1500X T, but that's AM4, so that wouldn't work. And there is some, again, older Intel stuff. Like, for example, you can get a 13700K for $300. But I think we're going to be sticking to AMD. For the GPU, I ended up paying, it was $565 edge run. So I think, again, if you're saying I'm dumb for doing this, let me know. But this is the choice we're going for, and it's going to cost us $285, which means we're already at $850. Okay, so the price ceiling of 1200 is very quickly catching up with us, and we may need to do some adjustments later down the line. However, I think it also gives us a pretty good indicator of what kind of motherboard we have to go for if we want to make this work. And that is going to be the, if I just do Prime Big Deals Day only, and that's going to be the B650 Ares Elite. It's $160. You lose out on that fast. Actually, no, not that one, because that's this one. We can do this one. It's barely any. It's like not. How much is it? $192. It's $30 more expensive, but you get quite a few nice new features with the 850, I think we're going to go with this. Again, you be the final judges. The problem I have right now is I only have 8 gigs of VRAM. Yeah, I mean, when you're running at 580, there are other things that will be a bottlenecks. People constantly talk about VRAM. I think if you're playing at 1080p at reasonable settings, 8 gigs is still enough. But like the overall architecture and the clocks of your 580 are going to be very much bigger bottlenecks, I think, than just the fact that it's only 8 gigs. So next part is going to be this. Oh, go away. I clicked the wrong thing. And it's going to be $190. So that means we do not have a lot of money left for everything else. That is not looking good, but I think we could still make it. What I think we need is to get the memory out of the way first. So let's just go DDR5 RAM and see what we have here. Ugh. Edron says, I found you a cheaper Asus GPU for just under 300. I think under 300 will be a bit too cheap for this kind of budget. Like when you have $1,200 of a budget, I think it's going to be like about a half of your budget is just going to be a GPU. And wait a second. Why is the little thingy gone? You seeing that? I don't have the option to... Is there like no memory on sale? That is so weird. Okay, let me quickly just reset Amazon and see why I'm not getting the special thingies. The little button for stuff that is on sale. Because that's weird. Unless there's like no RAM on sale for some reason. Okay, I just typed in RAM and that worked. That's bizarre. Okay, let's go back. Obviously we're going with 32 gigs. And we're just going for like the cheapest stuff at this point because that budget is quickly catching up with us, and I think we're going to have to do some cuts somewhere. And I think the first thing to get cut is going to be... Well, we can cut the motherboard. We can cut the motherboard further. That saves us $30. To try and preserve that graphics card, because I think that the main priority is trying to preserve that 5070. It has to live. It has to live on. And I don't think we're seeing a better deal than this kit from Acer, which I don't think we've ever had memory from Acer be a thing. Also, that's not the kind of RAM I'm talking about, Amazon. I'm not talking about a car. I'm talking about... But if I type in DDR5 RAM, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we don't have anything on sale for that. What if I do RAM DDR5? No. Okay, what I do DDR5 on its own? No. Amazon, why are you like this? You have enough money to buy a small nation, and your website still does stuff like this. Whatever. Let's just go with this and let's see what the damage is. How come you're using the US version of Amazon? That's simply because most people watching will be from the US. Simple as that. And I think it just, yeah, just makes things easier. Usually I usually have the postcode for the shipping set to the White House. But like this time around, you just set it to like some random one in Nashville, which I don't even know what's under that postcode. I actually think it's called a zip code in the States, isn't it? So this is our RAM, and it costs $91. This is not looking good, guys. We need to get storage, a case, a PSU for $70. This ain't happening. We need to cut something. We need to cut something. What do we cut? What do we cut? We can cut the motherboard. Gives us back $30. That's not going to do a lot of difference. Okay, let's do things differently. Let's continue on our way, see how much over budget will be afterwards, and then see how much we have to cut down. I think that would be a better way of doing it. So let's just go with a CPU cooler next. See what we can get here, shall we? Please be something cheap. Like, for example, hey, a Pure Rock from Be Quiet, who are fantastic partners of this channel, who we usually send us really awesome stuff. We also have ourselves some other stuff that probably will be a bit too weak for a 1700X. I think we can aiming for like a dual heat pipe, like a dual heat spreader, dual fan setup like this, or an AIO, but I think that's a bit too expensive. I think this will be fine, honestly. It's a decent enough little cooler, unless we see something really, really good for a for an AIO. And for example, this right here, $54 for a 240mm. That's pretty decent, and it's from a brand I would actually trust not to fail and flood the PC. Or should we go AIO? That's slightly more expensive, or do we go with just a regular air cooler? That's a question of the minute. Justin says the 7600 or 9600X was the was there a 9600 on sale? Saying the Assassin would be a good choice. Where was it? It's $20. It's a bit, but actually no, it isn't it says Thermalright Assassin, but isn't Assassin like a deep cool? Oh, here's the one you're talking about, Pillars Assassin, for $36. It has like a screen on top as well. Okay, that's something. Sure. Like, it's not going to be as amazing as I would probably maybe want for a 1700X, but again, if we do downgrade the CPU a bit, then maybe it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's go with this. And it's going to cost us $37. I'm just going to round up because why not? Okay, storage. Storage is next. Now, usually we only go with one storage. However, I always have that little second row for storage available in case you want to have like a main boot drive that's kind of small for your OS and your main apps, and then also like a slightly bigger one for your bigger files, your games and stuff like that, if you want like a slightly bigger drive. So again, we're aiming to have at least 2 terabytes here. That is like non-negotiable. 2 terabytes is like the bare minimum for a system nowadays, and especially if you want to put some games on it. And I have a feeling we're going to have to cut down our CPU quite a bit. I think this Samsung can actually be our best option right here for 2 terabytes. You're getting a 990 Pro for what, $133. It's a Gen 4 drive, because let's be honest, who's going to need Gen 5? Gives you pretty decent speeds. I don't see anything faster that is 2 terabytes. Not faster, cheaper than that. Alternatively, you can get 4 terabytes for only a bit more. Oof, that is a difficult choice. Like, we can get a Gen 4 4TB drive for only, like, what? $70, $67 more than that one. And you get twice the storage. It's overkill, but hey, if they're giving it, we kind of have to take it. Do we go for that? Do we go for the WD Blue? Like, I know I just said we have to save money, but at that kind of deal, I think we could make some savings somewhere else, especially given the size of modern games. I don't know. Oh, I know what we can do. We can do, if I remember how to do these, in... How on earth do I... You can do like a little, you can do like a little poll, but I cannot remember for the life of me how I do a poll in the live chat. There it is. So 2 terabytes for how much? $133, or 4 terabytes for $200. Cast your vote now, so I know what to do. Don't get me wrong, if you're looking for storage yourself, this is a fantastic deal for you to check out, by the way, if you're looking for some good stuff with day. Oh, right now it's split 50-50. Come on, more people vote. I don't want to be the one deciding on this. Because again, you probably won't need 4 terabytes, but eventually you need 4 terabytes. One day you will. And if they're offering it for that much less, I mean for only $67 more. Which one has highest speed? Speed-wise, so this is what, 5.5 gigs a second, and this is 7.45 gigs a second. So this is way faster, but at the same time, are you ever going to need this kind of speeds? There's so many other things that are going to be the bottleneck before that is going to be the speed, unless you're, like, again, moving like really big files, like between like external SSDs. Even if you're like downloading a game, the bottleneck is just going to be internet connection. And if you wanted to do what I said earlier of having like a separate boot drive, then they even have stuff like this. It's a King Spec, which is like a trusted enough brand. 256 gigs, only like $17. It's like really slow as well because it's Gen 3, but like again, just for your boot drive and some of your main apps, like it's gonna be fine. If you want to get something a bit fast, then we can go with this. Right here, this Araco 1 terabyte. People are very much in favor of the 2 terabytes. Interesting. Okay, sure. We have so much of the budget to make up, I think it's probably smarter. So this is going to be our NVMe, our storage, and because it's 2 terabytes, we don't need anything additional. So let's just go for that with $133. So which means we're already $101 exactly over budget, and we still need a PSU, we still need a case, and maybe some additional fans. This is gonna be tough. Okay, but that's the fun of it. It's a challenge, and that's what matters. So PC case. Let's see what you have on sale there. You can usually get some pretty good deals on PC cases from just like the weirdest brands. Like they look like every other PC case on the market right now, but they're from like brands you've never heard of before, like Mustex or Kedias. Dark Flash I've heard of. I saw them, I think, at Computex even. Sama, Dark Flash, Case 6. Is that the name of the case or the brand? Who knows? And this is the very first actual one from a company you've probably heard of. And it's a firm will take for $150. So nope. It's a bit too expensive for us. This is literally just a rip-off of the one from Fractal. On the one hand, I don't know if I want to support it. On the other hand, it's $56, so why not? So yeah, unfortunately, you don't get too many PC cases from like well-known manufacturers, but you can get some good deals and like stuff from like from people you've never heard of before. So that's the thing here. That's a nice price, but it's ITX, and we need an ATX. This looks cool. I really like this kind of wood finish at the bottom. It's $56, and I think that's about as cheap as it's going to get. It also has pre-installed fans that are going to be enough to get us started. We're probably going... Oh, that's a good question. Would we need additional fans if we're going with 5070? That's another thing to consider. This is interesting. Look at this setup right here. Look where that little fan is at the very bottom. Like usually when you have side fans, you have... Oh, actually, I think I just noticed you don't see my... Oh, do you see my cursor? I think you should be able to see my cursor. Hopefully you can see my cursor. So yeah, look at this. There's only this one single fan here because there's this weird entire module here. Even though usually when you have this additional side vent, it's usually like a setup going all the way up and down. That's interesting. Here you get 3 fans pre-installed as well. $55. We can't be picky. We really can't be picky because someone, I'm not saying who, Justin, has decided to make our price point a really, really low this time around. So we really can't be picky. MSI do some good cases for 50 quid. Yeah, but again, it has to have this little dumb sticker. That's the dumb rule I made up, and now we have to dumbly keep to it. Ugh. But I don't think there's anything cheaper now. Oh no, there's this one. Oh no, that's micro ATX, never mind. There's this one. $48. Looks good enough. You get 6 pre-installed fans. What? I don't know if they'll be any good, given the price. And the fact that I've never heard of this company before. And the fact that the graphics look like this. But hey, you have to take what you have to take. That's the beauty and the curse of this game. Okay, I'm done looking for a case. This is good enough. It also means we don't have to look for additional cooling for our 5070. I'm gonna go for this, and it's $48. Okay, PSU, and we're done. Let's just go for the offers and see what we have. So we have a 5080, not 5080, 5070. So our objective here will be to get one that's at least 850 watt. Anything below that will just not be enough. Yeah, I agree. The wood finishes look really, really good. I'm like surprised how many companies do it now. Don't get me wrong. I really, really like it. But I like how like Fractal did it, and then like all of a sudden everyone does it. I like me some wood grain, so I really like this Vedic. I just wish one came out that had like a 5¼ inch bay, and then maybe I'd replace my Fractal pop there. What do we have here? We have a pure power, which is a 1000 watt. That's a bit overkill. We have one from Thermaltake. I'd trust a PSU from Thermaltake. It wouldn't be my main choice, but like I'd trust them enough. Oh, actually no. Is this the one where we did the last stream and we like checked some reviews of these and they were saying, oh, do not buy these because all of them just fried? Yeah, I think that is when we went over to the LTT Labs website and I had an entire rant about LTT Labs. I think that was the one, and I think that's the PSU we're talking about then. Okay, so maybe not that one. However, we do still need something that's 850 watts that's also kind of somewhat affordable, and also from a company I actually kind of sort of maybe trust. And that could be kind of difficult. There's one from Gigabyte. It's $95. Not the cheapest, but like again, we don't have too many options. Actually, at this one, if that's 95, that's 120. Okay, so I think we're gonna have to stick with that one. There's a few cheaper ones that are 750 watts. However, that will be a bit too close to the edge for a 5070, especially if you want to have some room for additional upgrades down the line. I think the 850 will be the smart choice here. There's also this one from Corsair, which is a bit nicer, but again, we do not have the money to splash right now, so I think we're gonna go for this. And now begins the arduous task of cutting things down. So we have to go back to the CPU, and that is where we're gonna decide. Because that's gonna be the main thing we're gonna have to probably downgrade if we want to keep that 5070. And again, I want to try and do everything in our power to keep that 5070. So right now we have the 7900X, which is $885. However, we are $244 overboard. Do we keep the 5070 or not? First, let's see if we can cut some costs here. Okay, like, if we know we're sticking with AMD, let's just go Ryzen. And again, why does it take away the little thingy there? Ugh. But whatever, we have 7800X3D, that's more expensive. We have this right here, which is what we're going for. We have a 5900 XT. It's cheaper, but it's on the older socket, AM4, so that's a no-go. We have a Threadripper. Are there really no better deals? Or do we go Intel? Do we really have to go Intel just to save this dumb 5070? Actually, no, I don't think going Intel will save us either unless we go for a... We could go for a 14600 KF. That's $167. It's good enough. It's good enough, especially again if our target is 1440p, the CPU doesn't matter as much. Huh. That'll be one way of doing it, because again, we can't get cheaper on the CPU. We can get cheaper on the motherboard, but only by $30. So the way we're going to decide this is by going back to motherboards and seeing if there is a good Intel one on offer. If there isn't, then we have to scrap the 5070. I'm sorry. I tried my best, but we couldn't save it. I say change your 5070 out to save money. Like, I know that's the easy way out, but I don't want the easy way out. I want to keep it. It's just, it's too good not to include here. Okay, what do we have? Oh, MSI B760. $152. Okay, so let's do a bit of a few changes. Let's do a few changes. We'll go with this for $152, and then for the CPU, it was a what did I say? It was a 14600 KF. There we go, for $167. We still have to cut down on $88. Why did you make my job so difficult, Justin? Oh no. I think we have to do it. I think we have to cut the 5070. Because we're still $88 over budget. That's like... There's no other way of saving costs at this point unless we go down to like 16 gigs of RAM. Which even that wouldn't be enough. And again, I think 32 gigs is like the minimum nowadays. So, oh wow, we have to go down to a 5060. Normally, like if I was doing this properly, like if I was just doing a normal build, I would probably just say to people, Like, if someone was trying to build this, I would just say spend a bit more and go for a 5070. It's only $88 more. However, again, the rules of this game are, even if the final build doesn't make sense, it has to be within budget and it has to be on sale on the special day we're doing it on. So, them's the rules. What's the next card down after the 5070? I don't want to cut down all the way to the 5060. That's all of a sudden frees up a lot of our budget. And like, it will be... Oh, there's a 5060 Ti. The perfect middle ground. Actually, we can get one even cheaper. That's a pretty big difference between two OC models. Why is that? Oh, I see why. This is the 8 gig one, and this is the 16 gig one. You see how easy it is to get caught out by this? I can feel bad for people who are trying to buy a graphics card. They don't read the fine print and they get a card that just has like half the memory. You see how easy it is to fall for it? So obviously we're going to go for the 16 gig one. Unless we see anything else that is cool here. And we're going Gigabyte, which I like. I feel like Gigabyte are the default graphics card people, you know? Like, when I imagine a graphics card box, I think of this Gigabyte one with the eye. The one we're going for doesn't have the eye, but still, you know what I mean? Like, that is just a default graphics card in my head, if I had to imagine. Is it just me, or is it like, does anyone else know what I'm talking about? Is 9070 XT good for streaming, given how like that's one of the best AMD cards they have right now? Yeah, it's pretty great. You don't have access to some of the tools you get on Nvidia, but if you don't need them, then you don't need to worry about them. It's like really, really good for streaming. Yeah, that'll be fine. Edgewine says, I picked up an Asus 5060 for just under $300. That's a pretty good bargain as well. I should probably close that poll now, given how we've already decided on the question of the SSD. Okay, so we're going with the 5060 Ti, and that all of a sudden frees up quite a bit of a budget. To the point where, if we're going with a 5060, I'd almost say a 7900X is a bit overkill, you know? And so I'm kind of wondering what direction should we go now? What should we do with the money we now have spare? Because we now have quite a bit spare. I say quite a bit. Not much, but just enough where we can treat ourselves to something a bit nicer. Maybe a nicer motherboard, a few additional features. Maybe we could technically go for... Actually, no, we can't go for a big SSD. Let's try and go back to CPUs again. Not CPUs, to motherboards. And see if there's maybe like a slightly nicer Intel model we can go for. It's a total waste. Like, the motherboard should be the last thing you upgrade. The main thing's the graphics card, then CPU. But again, because of the way this challenge works, my hands are tied. How much RAM? We went with 32 gigs here. We went with like an Acer 32 gig kit, which, like I said, it's pretty much the minimum, I'd say, nowadays in 2025. Like, I would not build anything under 32 gigs, even if there are technically DDR5 kits with just 16. We can go for something a bit nicer, like this Gigabyte Z790. I don't think we can go for a better CPU, because if we go CPUs and then we see what's on sale from Intel, I think that is as good as you can get without tipping the scales. Actually, where is it? Went for the 4600 KF, right? Am I blind? Oh, there it is. Yeah. So it's one. So we can go for something that's like a $250 or so. And I don't see anything here from... We can go for a 12900K. However, that's 2 generations older. So I wouldn't be able to tell you like what exactly the performance discrepancy there will be between a Core i9 and a Core i5 2 generations apart. I'm sorry, I don't have like that many performance stats memorized in my head that I can just tell you exactly which is faster across generations like that. Yeah, and I don't see anything fast. 40. There's a 4700 KF. Why is it only giving it? Why is it giving me all of these mini PCs? And only on like the third or fourth page is giving me more of the stuff I actually want. Amazon, you're killing me here. Okay, that's $265. Let me quickly do the math. See if that would. Yeah, that would go over. So unfortunately, I think we're stuck with that CPU. It's annoying, right? And I think we might actually end up under budget. This is like the very first time in this whole series, across all of the years I've been doing this, that we end up having money spare, because I cannot see what we could use it on apart from maybe a slightly better motherboard. Which again, that would be like the last thing I'd ever like say that you should ever do. You go to graphics card first, then the CPU, and then look at stuff like memory and a motherboard if you have some money spare. Okay, let's just go with that. I'm not happy with this. Sometimes, you know, we end builds and I'm just like happy that they end up being like pretty nice. And this one I'm just kind of mad because of the way it ended up. We have $40 spare still. You can go and help yourself to some Five Guys for that. You can get like half a meal for that price. Okay, I think that's gonna be the build. Unless I see like another motherboard we can even upgrade to here to go all the way to that $2,000 mark. But I don't see it. Unless, can we go for that 7900X again? No, we wouldn't be able to go for that, couldn't we? Yeah, so that's it. That's the build. Like I said, I'm not happy. Actually, no. I know what we can do. You know, what I was saying earlier about a second boot drive? I think we can do that. I think we can do that. Just like a small... No, I don't want external SSDs. Why are you giving me like the things I don't want, Amazon? Ugh. Struggling here. First world problems, I know, but... What can we afford? We have $39. We can just get like an additional SSD here for like a boot drive. Here, King Spec 512. It's Gen 3. It's kind of slow, but it's just gonna be a good boot drive for you. Like that's gonna be fine. $31. Done. That's the build. That's the build. Oh, Justin says AIO. That would be... Now that we downgraded the CPU, that's not as much of a necessity. Plus, normally I also go with AIOs in these builds whenever we need some more fans for the case itself. Here, the case comes with 6. Again, I don't know how good they are, but you get 6 fans, and also, unlike with an AIO, where we just have 2 fans or 3 fans that are different, here we're gonna have all 6 fans be the same. So it's all nice. Again, like aesthetics like that probably aren't a big priority when you're that kind of tight on a budget. However, it's something nice. So I do not see an AIO being as big of a priority here as, you know, getting yourself even just half a terabyte more storage just for like whatever you want. So I think that's going to be good. Nork over there in chat showing off his 5090. Everyone's saying there's loads you can choose from. Yeah, again, the issue is it has to be on a Prime Day deal here and on the American version of Amazon. Again, there could be some other deals on some other on some other versions of Amazon. Like every single version of Amazon on every single country has slightly different deals, but these are just the ones available to me right here. And again, the main thing I'm sad about is just the graphics card. Like if I go AMD graphics card, is there anything here? I love it. I type in AMD graphics card. Amazon gives me an RTX 5050, a 5050, a 3050. Oh, Amazon. Never change. So yeah, that's the most annoying part. The thing I'm annoyed about the most is that we couldn't squeeze that graphics card in. But that's the beauty of the game. That's the beauty of the game. But I think we are going to do another stream tomorrow probably, because this is always fun. This is always fun. And they usually have slightly different deals between the 2 days. So this is what we're getting right now. Like I said, I literally type in AMD graphics card. And I get Nvidia, Radeon 5050. And an Intel, Nvidia support bracket, laptop, motherboard, pre-build, AMD, but it's a 350. So, yeah. That's the issue. That's the issue here. That it's just like not. Maybe other stuff will be available tomorrow. I'll have a quick look around tomorrow. And if anything really different pops up, I am going to do another live stream. Especially seeing how you guys always really like these. These are like the best performing live streams we ever do on this channel. But still, it's definitely not the worst build ever, especially the budget. Obviously, the worst builds ever have to go to some of the ones we had to do during the like big GPU shortages. Those are the worst. Matt says a 9060 XT might be a bit cheaper if available without discount. Yeah, that's the thing. The challenge of the game is it has to have a discount. It has to have that little discount sticker from Amazon. The builds we do here on these live streams, sometimes they make sense. Other times, like here, they do not make sense, but we have to stick to the budget and we have to stick to the rule of only using stuff on sale, just to add a bit of spice, just to give it a bit of a challenge, you know? It's just a bit of fun. It's not, I would say, a good build, or like, again, the way I said, the way I'd build it myself. Again, sometimes we do get builds that are genuinely like near compromise free. Pretty much everything you could ever want is on sale, and like good enough pricing where like everything just works. And like you can definitely go back and check some of those other videos. We've like done plenty of these at this point, because we do them for Black Friday, we do them for Prime Day, we do them for Big Deals Day, we do them for like some other stuff as well. Whenever there's like a big sale going on, it's like they are always kind of, there's plenty for you to go back and see what kind of deals we were able to do, were able to get in the past. But again, you get $8 spare. Treat yourself to something nice for this $8. Like, I don't know what. Can you make a similar video about peripherals? I was thinking about doing one like this, because you can usually get some good stuff on sale. But of course the budget will have to be like a lot bigger, but do like a proper build. That could be a video for tomorrow. Not video, a live stream. Right? Because you can usually get, if we go gaming keyboard, let's start with that. Let's see what kind of deals we have. Yeah, you can get stuff on sale. Granted, most of this is from companies I've never heard of before. Okay, there's Red Dragon, that's decent enough. And that's about it from brands I heard of. I know there's Corsair. But yeah, I think it could be a really cool one to do one day. That is just PC plus monitor, keyboard, mouse, headphones, speakers maybe. Maybe like an audio interface, webcam, mic if you want to go all out for streaming setup. I think that could be a really cool video. I think that could be cool as well. Is that something you want to see? It will be a lot longer, but like you guys clearly like seeing me ramble on about how bad Amazon is. So I think we could do that. We just need to establish what kind of budget we need, because obviously 1200, as you saw, that's barely enough for a PC. So maybe tomorrow we can do a $1,500 PC, and then let's do maybe what, $2,000 altogether with peripherals. Actually, no, that could be a bit. Yeah, $500 for a monitor and everything else. I think you could easily do that. Yeah, I think that could be really, really interesting. Again, I'll do it if enough changes. if enough changes in terms of what deals are available. But then again, if we're doing like a different budget, then we could probably get away with that 50/70 finally. And Nog says, why don't go for AMD 9070 again? Because there is no 9070 on sale. If I go 9070 XT, again, it's not available as part of the sale. And the rules are it needs to have that little on sale Prime Day sticker on it. Because I hate myself and I just want to make things more difficult for myself, apparently. But again, that just makes this game more fun. And it's just become a tradition on this channel. So, okay, I think if people are into that idea, I think we could be doing another live stream tomorrow. I'll be saving this build. I'll see exactly how we can, you know, tweak things for tomorrow. But again, as far as the builds we've done on this channel, this definitely isn't one of my favorite ones, but I think it's still decent enough. We still saw some pretty good deals. And again, if you want to pick up any of the stuff, please use our Amazon links, which will be down in the video description below. Because that way you don't pay a single cent more, but we get some of the money back that gets reinvested back in the channel. So obviously one of the big things right now is just affording a trip to CES, because guess what, going to Vegas ain't cheap. And again, we want to go to CES again this year because it was just such a big thing, such a big opportunity last year. I say last year, still this year, but still, you know what I mean, last edition of it. And so that's obviously a big thing. And again, you don't pay anything else. So hey, if you want to stick it up to capitalism or whatever, you can think about it this way. If you use the Amazon links, then Jeff Bezos gets paid less, right? Think about it this way. Do the right thing. Use our Amazon links. That will be down in the video description below. But anyway, that is a thing about it. Again, thank you guys so much for joining me for this. And like I said, we are probably going to be doing a second one tomorrow, just to see if we can get some good peripherals going for Prime Big Deal Day. So see you all here tomorrow, and in the meantime, hey, I hope you liked this live stream. If you did, make sure to subscribe, like, whatever, and I'll see you all in whatever